Hey there, hi there, ho there. How are we today? Happy day. It's like, should I say Wednesday? Doesn't matter. Happy Wednesday. We are doing this on a Wednesday. Yes, we are. So I will say happy Wednesday. So what's up? How are we doing today? We have new times. I'm heavily thinking of the replay right now where none of this matters, but wanted to say, hey there, Barbara, happy Wednesday. I want to say hi to folks. Hey there. And Joy's in the house. Hello. So how are we doing today? What's up? What's new? What's going on? Hey, Christina and everyone. Nice to see you there. So today, I love June because we do a thing here in Hollywood Gatekeepers that we like to refer to as New June. And we talk about June. Hey there, Emily. We talk about June as a chance to sort of shake the blanket. So basically, and I'm going to do this in a couple different ways. Hey, Stella. Nice to see you from New Orleans, baby. Nice to see you. I was gonna say howdy, but that's not right. What is it? Bonjour. Should say hello. How do you say hello from New Orleans? Howdy, I guess. You did say howdy. Wait, what am I saying? You said howdy. It's so funny. I'm like, it's not howdy, but wait a minute. I suppose it is if Stella's doing it and she's in New Orleans. So there you go. I know. I've actually never been there. So that's on my list for sure. So I don't know who that is. So if you have it, if I say your Facebook user, you just need to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and just say, yes, you can. It's just so that you get your name. Oh, it's Doug. Well, hey there, Doug. It's so that I should have known it was you because you said, hey, kids. To give it, I don't think they do anything other than it gives you permission to post your name publicly. There's no, as far as I know, full disclosure, as far as I know, they don't use it for any other reason. But and people are saying hello to Doug. Hi, Doug, fearless partner. Yay, it's your birthday. Yay, perfect. Happy birthday. Say it's your birthday. It's one of my good friends' birthdays today, too. It's very exciting. So, it's very cool. Love it, Lisa. Yay, and then we get lots of happy birthday wishes. Love it. So, perfect. It's perfect because new June, right? So normally we talk about this in the sense of, it's June, it's the 30th of June, we're halfway through the year. It's a fiscal year that ends, it's like, maybe you realize I need to do some taxes. It's halfway through the year. And July 1st is Happy Half New Year, we have declared. Says us. Happy Half New Year. And so, and spread the word, because I love this concept of Happy Half New Year, that July 1st, just like January 1st, it's like, boom, we are setting, resetting, redoing, like rehashing our intentions. And so normally that's just like, so what New Year's resolutions did you make, if you make them, and how's that working out for you, and that kind of thing. And normally that's what we focus on. But however, this year, like, I would imagine that some of your New Year's resolutions didn't even fit. Like, it's like, oh yeah, no, those went way out the window this year because everything changed for a lot of people. So this year, I think even more importantly, is a chance for us to not only just shake the blanket, reset, but sort of reevaluate even. I think some things have happened that, is different for everyone, but there's been so much turmoil about so many topics that I think it really is like an opportunity to see what has shifted, like for you personally. There may have been some massive shifts, both externally in your circumstance, but also internally in terms of the things that we've collectively been going through. So I just like, no more has New June been more important to, no matter where you're at with anything, to shake the blanket, reset, restart, say that the sun is shining, love it, and kind of let's use this opportunity. So what we do is and we'll do it for the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing trainings in June, all about New June and starting fresh, and then we celebrate Happy Half New Year, and that happens to be on a Tuesday. So we'll be but actually the holiday of Happy Half New Year is on a Wednesday, so it'll be perfect. So we'll come in and we'll do a Happy Half New Year celebration. So, and we have lots of things that we do that coordinate with that, and we'll share more about that as we go. But we wanted to start with a handout So we do have a handout, and I can put that up. Hey there, Emily. I can put up the handout. I have purple rain in my head, just so you know. Just in case you were wondering. Crack myself up. The song Purple Rain is in my head. Can you hear it? Okay. So there's the handout. We put this as the handout, and then you do need to enter your name and email when you go there, and that gives us an opportunity to find out what you're clicking on, so we know what more to create. And then that way too, now it's in mine too. You're welcome. It's been in my head all day long. And so, and not even from homeroom. We do homeroom every day, which you should join us for. We play music in there in homeroom, and sometimes we play Little Prince. We just play like, I don't know, I just pick random things. So check out that link and get the handout. So I'm going to walk you through what's in the handout, and you can, if you're driving or you're on the treadmill, something like that, you can just listen. And then, but I highly recommend that you actually, with all of these, we don't create the handout for our health. We create the handout for your health. There we go. So we really do want you to do the exercises, because they really will make a difference. It's kind of astounding, actually. So download that handout, and let's walk through kind of, there's basically instructions and then a sheet that you can use if you would like. So what we'd like you to do, and you can do this, we're looking at it as the first half of the year. And in general, we do that every June. Let's look at the first half of the year, you know, compared to, well, I don't know if we want to do that this year. It's a little bit different, but compared to, we really do, it's true. Compared to what you thought in January or December when you were thinking of your New Year's resolutions. And we do these same kind of trainings in December, getting you ready for the new year. Like, what are some of the things? I'm not a big proponent of New Year's resolutions, because I think that those resolutions should be happening all the time. I'm a much bigger proponent of daily journaling, weekly reflection, that kind of thing. So you can always be looking, and we talk about the look method, which you'll see on the handout, like really looking at your life often. The more often, the better, because that's how you'll be able to make like better informed decisions about where you want to go. And the more in touch you are with looking at your life, the more you can create the things that you want to create. So we do this in terms of, you know, we're all about reading. She's not mentioned one thing about reading, but we really are all about reading. And this idea of reading, of these kinds of exercises, we do for a few reasons. And one is that we want you to have as much contentment and calm, and, you know, we want your personal life to be as sussed out as possible, because that's going to make you a better reader. It might seem counterintuitive, but absolutely, if you're frustrated and cranky in your life, you're going to be frustrated and cranky in your coverage. You're going to look at someone, you're not going to be as open and giving in critiquing someone, because this job in particular has so much to do with critiquing. We're trying to flip so that you're always looking in the same look method in your coverage, that you're looking for the good, you're looking for the hidden gem, you're looking for the thing that's going to push that screenplay forward. You're not looking for what doesn't work, you're not looking for the mistakes. Those you'll find. You don't have to dig for those. They pop up. What you're looking for is beyond that, because if you can get beyond the surfacey things that don't work, that the dialogue needs help, blah, blah, blah. If you can get to some deeper thing in there, and you can get to what the writer's trying to do, and you can get to where is their voice, because every writer has a unique voice. And if they don't, if their voice is if they're writing dialogue they've heard on television, it doesn't matter. I'm about to like go down this whole path, but even if they do that, even if their screenplay feels like a rehash of a bunch of other screenplays, you can see what they love by what they wrote. You can see what's influencing them. And that's what you dig into. Like, if this isn't, you know, this is where their voice lives, tap into that. And then all that surfacey stuff, typically most people can learn and fix. It's that finding that inner voice. And that, in my opinion, after reading thousands of screenplays, is where the money is, where the drama is, money in terms of, that's where the gold is. Like, that's where it's all revealed. So we want to teach, share, learn. I'm learning these techniques as well. We want to explore, is the best word, all this together so we can get our crap together in our own lives. And then that's going to inform the way that we show up in life and in coverage and in all of that. So hello from Texas. I don't know who you are. So take this handout. There's 4 columns. That's what that was. There was actually in my head, I was seeing the 4 columns while listening to Purple Rain, because I can't sing while I read. If you've ever seen broadcast news, one of my favorites. In the first column, the first thing we want you to do is think about all of the things, and we're just going to refer to this in the first half of this year. You can do this yearly, you can do it monthly, you can do whatever you want, but for our purposes today, from January to June, it's Marla from Texas. Hi, Marla. If you just click on the little streamyard.com/Facebook, you can add your name or not, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. First thing you want to do is look at what are the wins or what are the successful moments you've had so far this year. Like, what are some of the, even if it's just I've been able to go to the grocery store and not totally freak out, or I've been able to, get some writing done, or whatever it might be. Like, what are some things that you've been able to, big and small, accomplish and experience? Not necessarily has to be like I accomplished this, but it can be that, or just like some positive things that have been in your life this year. Like, what are some of those things over the first 6 months of this year? And then we want you to look at those things and think about and write about how did you show up for those things? Were you showing up in an optimistic fashion? Were you showing up, how were you approaching that? Why do you think that those things happened? What was your role in that happening, that successful thing happening? If, you had to suddenly homeschool, what was your role in that? And what was your role in making that thing work? Whatever it is. We're talking about things that have worked in the last 6 months. Like, and what was your part in that? And then what were the external factors that were happening? Like, what else was going on in your life? Like, who were you with? Where were you living? What was happening that you think fed into that success or that positive experience? So by looking and just listing out, oh, this happened and this, here's some great things that happened. And then listing out, oh, and here's how I showed up for those things. I was determined. I was inspired. I was whatever. And then I was pushed by my job, or I had to for this reason, or whatever the external. By looking at those factors, you can kind of get an overview of the things that worked. And then we want you to do the same thing with things that you would consider failures or didn't work or challenges or not things that you're so thrilled about. And the same exact thing, write out what those things are, and then write out what was your role in that. Sometimes we say stupid stuff. We do. Everyone does it. Like, sometimes you spark something that then didn't go so well. Sometimes what was your part in this thing? Because we always have a part. Even if the thing is external and some terrible thing happened, even in trauma, how you respond to that trauma is your part in it. Even if it's something that you couldn't control, which is the worst, right? When it's something that was totally random and out of your control, happens every day, all the time to people. How we respond to that thing is our role in that thing. Sometimes it's bigger than that. Sometimes we did have a part in the bigger picture of something not going the way we planned. And if that's the case, what was just, no judgment, just what was your role? The more that you know, the more that you're able to look, even if it's uncomfortable, sit in that discomfort. You're here right now, which means you're fine. You've survived every discomfort so far, did enough to get you here. So once you kind of look at that and then look at the external factors, if it was something external you couldn't control, write that down. If it had to do with another person, and write that down. Like, what were some of the external factors that were maybe contributing to the bigger thing? And then I also want to just briefly comment on failures, in that we often think that we make this decision that this thing, whatever it might be, has to go this way. And if it doesn't, it failed. We have to make money at this thing. And if we don't, we failed. We buy something and it needs to work this way. And if it doesn't, we lost that money. And it's so the whole idea of losing money is a really funny way that we look at things, in my opinion, that we lost that money or we lost that business. You didn't lose it. It didn't fall through a hole in your pocket. It wasn't like, oh, where did my business go? No, there were choices, there were things, there were stuff that happened along the way that led to that inevitable, whatever it turned out to be. But all of those things that contributed along the way, all of that money that you spent, business that you like made decisions and they didn't go the way that you wanted, they didn't go the way that you wanted. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a failure. What that is an investment of building on something for the next thing. So sometimes if you can let go of the idea that things have to go this way, something else happens that's even better than what you originally thought it would be. And sometimes it's really hard to see in the moment. And I've had those experiences. And I remember one time, it's kind of a long story, but I'll just give you the crux of it. I was actually worried about my mother, and I was like, just something needs to happen. Just journaling and praying, and just like, please, like, we need to get her out of her current living situation, and something needs to happen. The next day, she lost her job, and I was like, well, that's not what I had in mind. It was like, no, wait. But that ended up being the catalyst for her to make change. She was sort of stuck in this thing, and then they downsized and they let a bunch of people go, and she was one of them. And it ended up being it was a really hard time for a while, for like a year, because it ended up this big old drama. It was like really a tough time in her life. But oh my goodness, where she ended up was so much better than where she was before that she got let go. Because where she was, she was in a tough situation, but she was not really even owning it, because it was like I don't even think she felt stuck at the time. We could see it, but she couldn't really even see that she was stuck in this rut. And by this massive upheaval, which was really traumatic for her at the time, she was so happy later when it came out to where she ended up. She ended up moving. It was a big old deal. And she ended up in this really beautiful place, and she was so much happier than she had been before she even realized she was unhappy. We knew she was unhappy. Her kids knew she was unhappy, but she wasn't even really keyed in, because she wasn't really looking. When you're looking at your life and you're keying into things that aren't working and that you're not satisfied with, then you can start doing this to sort of make adjustments. Because once you have this list and you have like, here's all the things that were working, not working. Here's how I showed up in both ways. And then here's the external factors. Who was I with? What roles were other people playing? Then it's kind of a miracle. It really is. You'll start to see patterns. You'll start to see, oh, when I show up like this happens. When I show up like this happens. Oh, when I do things with this person, these things happen. Oh, and there might be relationships that need to shift, morph, change, let go. There might be some of that going on. And if there is that, you might be doing them a favor of realizing that, because chances are, if you have that kind of mucky thing, we should do a whole thing on that. If you have that mucky thing, they do too, and both of you are struggling and suffering. And so to try and work it out and figure out this doesn't mean that it has to end, or maybe it does, but it doesn't necessarily mean that could shift into a new version of that relationship or whatever it might be. So really kind of looking at it, seeing what the patterns are, and then really realizing, and maybe hopefully that's why it's important to write it down. Once you've mapped it out, you might even be able to see how some of those things that happen that are good were building on some of the things that weren't so good. So you learned from something that didn't go well, and then it ended up in something that did go well, because that money you spent, that thing you lost, that was all an investment in learning something that then helped you with the next thing. So if you can really, it can really be, so if you're looking at like, what were the external factors? How does it look? And obviously, there's a massive amount of external factors happening right now. So what you can look at in terms of the external factors that are happening now in this world is, how are you showing up within those external factors? When you go to tell your grandkids about this time period, what are you going to say about what you were doing? Like, what is going on with you? And how can you take whatever's happening and whatever shifts, changes, traumas are going on, and how can you shake that blanket and do your best to figure out how that might morph into something that is actually, beneficial and life-changing for you and your loved ones and your clients and whoever it might be. So this is a really interesting exercise, because then when you go back through, we have a fourth column called now. And that is like, look at each one now and go like, what are you seeing? Like, write down the lesson that you're seeing. Oh, I realized that if I do things with this person and I show up like this, it works. Like, or if you look at this one and you go, oh, I had that person, but on here, this really worked. And I was showing up like that. You have this like chart of, oh, and on here, I showed up like that. But if I use that person, I show up, you can just like kind of go, oh, wait. And you can just map it out like pretty clearly. And then what if, put the things that you're discovering in the nows. And then when you go to make your next thing, look at that now and you'll have a map of like, oh, if I just do this, things moving forward after Happy Half New Year, I might get a lot more wins. And my challenges, my losses, my whatever are going to be far more of building blocks. You can start to see them far more as building blocks rather than failures, successes, losses. I mean, failures, losses, whatever that might be. So you see how it kind of maps out and it works out. And this is true when you're analyzing screenplays too, of being able to look at, oh, well, this works and that didn't work. And how can you put it together to create this? As opposed to it being, that means that, and this means that. I've never been much of a black and white thinker. I've always lived in the gray a little bit. And so this idea of like one thing leading to another, in my opinion, there's always something to be born from it all. There's always some building thing that happens. And if you can look back, and if you've never done this, I recommend looking back on your life and picking the key big ones and doing the same process with going back through your life. And I think I'm going to do like a longer training on this. I've been learning about this from my coach. He does a whole program called Reinvent, where they walk you through your whole life of what were the key moments in your life where you had things shift and things changed and you had to become a different person in order to accommodate that. You became, you got married or you got divorced or you had a child or you had a loss, all these beautiful, wonderful, awful, lovely, crazy, traumatic, the world is messy. All of these things, like how are you showing up for them and how are they shaping you and what is it causing you? And when you start to do this and you start to look at how you're showing up in these instances, you will start to see patterns in that, oh, it's generally people that cause me to shift. Oh, it's generally the environment of the world that causes me to shift. Oh, I decide I want to do something different and then I shift. Like you'll start to see these patterns in your own, what you believe and how you respond to what you believe. And your beliefs are the thing that will guide you. If you believe something will work or won't work, you're right. And you are guiding your life based on that. So how can you look at all of your nows and go, wait, if I just, it's a technical term for it. If I just tweak a little bit, it might shift me into something. And if you let go of, it has to be this. I'm doing this goal so that I can get this thing. Why do you want that thing? What is that? What is it that you really want? If there's something that you really, really want, why? Why do you want that thing? But if it's something material and you want the brand new big house, why? If it's something just, I want to finish my screenplay, why? Like, what's the why behind it? Because typically you can get the why, the feeling of the why without even doing that thing. First of all, you can just find it within yourself to imagine it and feel it. Or you can get that why from many things. So to cling to that thing means this thing. If I get that thing, it'll mean this. If you cling to that, sometimes you can get this. And if this is becoming a place you're like hitting your head, find another way. Let's get around that thing. Or, do it. Got some visuals today. But it's like, there's so many ways you can go. And I just want to try to be a conduit here in Hollywood Gatekeepers to help unstick that. So just kind of shake your head a little bit. That's the way I'm shaking the table. And now it's making the camera shake. So it's like, what are the things that we can do to help shake the blanket, reset, reframe, redo? Happy Half New Year. Do something different or more of the same, whatever it might be. So I really think it really, really can be cool. I think you can get it done. You with me? Give me in the chat if you're with me. Tell me you can do this. So download that handout, hollywoodgatekeepers.net/Hollywood DIY. and then write it literally. Take some time. This is a good exercise to write out and hand out again. To actually spend some time doing. I really recommend. I highly recommend it. I don't know where the row came from. I apologize. Oh, ding. Time to grow. That was your ding button. It's time to grow. All right, so that's what we have for this week. We will be back continuing with the new June theme and Happy Half New Year next week. And we're going to keep doing it at this time so that we can have it as part of our day and get you guys going on your noon break in California, afternoons elsewhere. And yeah, let's keep going with this. And then if you want to know more about our programs in general, you can go to hollywoodgatekeepers.net/free look, and you can see all of our free trainings. We have a ton of free trainings on a lot of things. It has links to everything, our YouTube channel, our podcast. We finally put it all in one place so that you can check it out. We also have all of our trainings that we have. We don't have any paid trainings that are open right now, but we just are doing free stuff right now. So but you can see and you can get on the waiting list if you see something in there that you think you might want to do. We'd love to have you. So loving this. Oh, I'm seeing your comments. There's comments. Wait. So thanks, you guys. I know it did. It was my Scooby-Doo. I'm glad you recognized it. So no, that was more Blue's Clues. My fave. All right, you guys. We will see you next week. Before I start doing Blue's Clues, I'll do Blue's Clues on the outro. Wait. Got to put that. I'm with you. I'm with you too, Lisa. All right. That was Blue. We'll see you later. Bye.